Hello channel viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. So today, we are going to try to do something very abstract. And we got inspired by one of our viewers, Yong Hui. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. So our viewer Yong Hui made this observation that ENTJ males tend to have a softer feminine side, while ENTJ females tend to have a stronger, tougher masculine side. So is this observation valid and correct? In order to answer this question, we have first got to talk about Jungian archetypes. So psychologist Carl Jung came up with the concept of archetypes. So what are archetypes? If you Wikipedia archetypes, you will find a very abstract definition. Archetypes are actually symbols and images that we inherit. It's a handful. So according to Wikipedia, archetypes are symbols and images that we derived from the collective unconscious. So this definition may be very hard for many people to understand. So one very simple way I can think of to explain archetypes to the viewers would be roles and characters that we play. So there are actually an infinite number of archetypes inside all of us. We inherited this from our ancestors. So we could have been the wise old man, we could have been the damsel in distress, we could have been the leader of the pack, we could have been the rebel, we are the Joan of Arc. Arc of Joan? Some of these characters are latent, while some of these characters are more prominent. Nonetheless, we call them archetypes. A long list of archetypes have been identified by psychologists, from the warrior to the ranger to the hunter. They are all inside us. There are male characters and there are also female characters. In particular, Carl Jung identified 4 main dominant archetypes that most of us should have. So let me talk about these 4 dominant archetypes from the point of view of the ENTJ. The first archetype that has been identified is the persona. So one very important keyword associated with the persona is mask. So when you are presenting yourself to others, at the workplace, even in your family, you are wearing a mask. If you are trying to meet the expectations of your parents by becoming a doctor, that is your persona. On the outside, you can be a very successful doctor, but deep inside, you actually want to be a musician. So in this example, your true self is not congruent with your persona. Most of the time, we have a persona that we display to others at different occasions. At work, in front of our friends, we want to give people the impression that we are somebody else. Jung proposes that a person who is so engrossed with the persona as an archetype may lose their true self. So from the ENTJ's point of view, I do engage the persona at times because I have contract work, I have students. So what this means is that I have to be professional at work, and when I am professional, I am presenting my professional self, which is my persona in this case. But speaking from the point of view of a mature ENTJ, I think that the persona is not a very important archetype for the ENTJ, because if you are very self-assured, you no longer need to fake it or just show people what they want to see. You can just be yourself. So here we're going to talk about the second dominant archetype, and that is yourself. Self. Your true self. So this self does not need any further elaboration and description. It is you, the one inside the body. Your brain, maybe. What do you really want in your life? Who do you really like? What do you fancy? I'm so fancy. Can't you taste this girl? What do you really want in your life? What do you like? What do you dislike? All these things yourself will know. You can pretend, but you cannot hide from yourself. As an ENTJ, I think the self is a very important archetype. If you are self-actualizing, then you are definitely leaving more of yourself as an archetype. So as a general observation, I would think that comparing the persona and the self, for ENTJs, persona should be between middle to low or medium to low, and the self will be from medium to high. So I would believe that many stable, mature ENTJs would have a low persona and a high self. If not because I am teaching, my persona would have even been lower. Okay, let's come to our third archetype, and this is a very interesting one. It's called the shadow. In very simple terms, it is your dark side. Dark side.
Through the night, fall into the dark side.
So every one of us has inside us some evil tendencies, right? So the ENTJ definitely has this. I am very consciously aware of my inner demons, although I always try to suppress them. But I know they are there. I have already mentioned in many of my videos, I have an angelic side and I always have a demonic side. I know the demonic side is always trying to unleash itself. So ENTJs should know that they have an inner demon, but they can always control it, or they are always holding it back. But that's not important. The important thing is most ENTJs should be able to acknowledge the existence of this shadow. Okay, the last one, the fourth one, is what Yong Hui is talking about, and that is the anima and the animus. So the anima is relevant for the male. It is the female inside the male. So inside every male, there is a feminine side. We are in touch with our feminine side. The animus is for the female. For every female, deep inside them, there is a man. There is a masculine side. I think in a way they are all interconnected because I am already very comfortable with myself. I do not need to put a persona. Therefore, I am also much more in touch with my feminine side. I think this is especially true for ENTJ females. A lot of the ENTJ females that I know of, though not my friends, have a very strong masculine side. They are feminine, alright, they look feminine, but yet they are very masculine inside. So for ENTJ males, I have not met enough, or I do not know enough ENTJ males to make a comment on this, but personally, I am very comfortable with myself, so much so that I just display every single part of myself. So the female part of me, the anima, is also well expressed. And I would say I'm not embarrassed at all by it because this is just one of the archetypes. I also recognize a lot more selves inside me. So I have a rebel definitely, I am a warrior, I am a leader, yet I am a follower, I am a seeker, I am the adventurer, I am a lover. So all these archetypes, I know they are inside me. They are just expressed at different times. In fact, I believe that for many ENTJs, they should have 100 different archetypes at least, all inside them that they are totally aware of, and they just play out in different times. Play out as in like cards, you know, like. So at the right time and at the right place, the right circumstance will trigger us to summon that particular archetype out, and we can play that role. So fellow ENTJs, do you also feel that there are a lot of different characters inside you, waiting to be triggered and to play?
They have their exits and their entrances.
So for me, while I am in front of the video, I definitely always have the inner child triggered. And viewers who are not ENTJs, do you have a lot of archetypes inside you? Do comment below to share with me. So I think this is a very interesting episode. At Channel NITT, we have been trying to merge psychological principles to MBTI. And I hope this one works as well. So just as a summary, I believe that the ENTJ is very likely to be a person who is true to himself or herself. So they tend not to wear masks. They can be very direct. However, as long as you are in society, you are not recluse, you are not a hermit, definitely you have to engage persona to a certain degree. But I would say that of all the MBTI types, ENTJ should have one of the lowest personas. So another point that I have made is that the ENTJ is very likely to have many different archetypes inside them. And the anima and the animus, which is the opposite gender, the masculinity for the females and the femininity for the males inside the ENTJ. The ENTJ is comfortable enough to express all these archetypes. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more MBTI and psychology. Okay, I'm going to sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye! Inner child.